The anime begins when a young boy named Kai bursts into the Adventurers Guild in the town of Crimonia, desperate for help from a monster known as Black Viper. Unfortunately, all of the high-ranking adventurers are already on other missions. When Kai becomes depressed, a girl dresses as a bear named Yuna appears in front of him. Yuna then goes off on her own to exterminate the Black Viper and defeats it. Following that, the villagers throw a party in her honor. Yuna enters her favorite game and is asked to select one treasure box as a gift item based on her total hours of gameplay over the previous year, and she chooses the Kuma set. After entering the game's world, she is surprised to find herself wearing bear equipment and her level reverting to 1, which she believes is a bug until she receives a message from God stating that she has been transported to another world. She ends up saving a girl named Fina after defeating the wolf who came to attack her. Their story continues until Yuna goes to exterminate a tiger wolf in the forest and ends up saving Fina's life once again from the tiger wolf that came to attack her. Afterward, Yuna becomes an adventurer in Crimonia after defeating a veteran adventurer named Deborane, and she and Fina become partners. After Yuna completes her Fina hunts, a man named Lance confronts her for defeating Deborane. Yuna later sets out with Lorena, a magician in Deborane's party, to capture 50 goblins. When they arrive in the forest, they discover that there are 100 goblins, and even a goblin king in the area. Yuna then eliminates both Goblin Horde and the Goblin King on her own. After finishing the quest, Yuna gains a new skill that allows her to summon bear familiars with her gloves, which she named Kumaku and Kumayuru. Afterwards, together with Fina, Yuna rents a plot of land to set up her house that includes a facility for Fina, so she can use it for monster harvesting. Meanwhile, it is revealed that a young girl was watching them from behind a tree. Yuna arrives at the guild, accompanied by the Black Viper. Fina appears at Yuna's house later that day, after the other guild members have harvested it, and gives her the Black Viper's mana gem. Yuna then notices Fina has a cut on her head and heals it with her magic. Yuna is summoned to the guild the following day. Yuna reluctantly accepts a request from Cliff Fosturos, the feudal lord of Crimonia, due to her perception of nobility. When she arrives at the house, she spends a day with his young daughter, Noah, and hands over the Goblin King's sword to Cliff. When Yuna returns home, she finds a depressed Fina, who informs her that her mother's illness has worsened. Yuna tries unsuccessfully to heal Telmina at Fina's house. Yuna successfully cures Telmina of her illness after realizing she must use her magic in a different way. Yuna uses her new bear transfer gate skill to travel to Kai's village after Telmina recovers from her illness. Yuna is out buying lunch the next day when she notices some orphans waiting for leftovers. She then goes to the orphanage where she discovers that the feudal lord no longer supports them. Yuna decides to assist the orphanage by establishing a kokekoko farm where they can sell eggs. She also finds Telmina work as a representative. Sometime later, Yuna calls out Cliff for abandoning the orphanage when he wonders why she will not sell his family any eggs. When Cliff returns home, he finds out that Enz Roland, the administrator of the orphanage, has been embezzling the funds. That night, Cliff confronts and apprehends Enz. At the orphanage, Cliff apologizes for what happened. At her house, Fina confronts Yuna for helping the orphanage when she expresses embarrassment for not trusting Cliff. Things appear to be going well after Telmina accepts Jen's marriage proposal. The next morning, however, Fina tells Yuna that her mother and Jens had a fight over breakfast. She then asks Yuna if she can take her and Shuri to retrieve the snow crystal flower. The trio heads to the area where the flower is located. While they are looking for it, Shuri notices something sparkly. When she discovers that it is a trapped bird, she and Fina rescue it. One of the bird's feathers falls into Shuri's hands as it flies away. When Fina and Shuri show it to their mother and Jens, they realize it's the same feather Roy, the girl's father, used to have. Fina realizes Yuna was correct when she said everything would be fine. Later, Fina and Shuri visit Yuna's house and assist her in making pudding. Yuna distributes pudding to everyone she knows the next day. Cliff asks Yuna if she can take Noah to the royal capital while he is enjoying himself. Yuna and Fina arrive at Cliff's house to escort Noah to the royal capital. As they are traveling, Yuna and Fina reveal to Noah how they met, while Noah reveals that her mother and older sister live in the royal capital. Yuna then decides to stop and rest where she cooks for everyone. The next day, the trio runs into Count Gran Farengram and his granddaughter, Misana. Once everyone arrives at the royal capital, they go their separate ways, where Yuna, Fina, and Noah are greeted by Noah's mother, Eleonora. Later that day, Shia arrives at the house, when she becomes skeptical of Yuna. Eleanor proposes that they have a sparring match, which Yuna wins. At dinner time, Yuna gives Noah, Shia, and Eleonora some pudding. The next morning, Yuna and Fina buy some groceries. That night, Yuna cooks some cheeseburgers and fries for everyone. It is then revealed that some mysterious figures are lurking outside the royal capital. In the past, a man swore vengeance against the king. In the present, Yuna gives everyone some pizza. Noah then asks Yuna if she can take Fina and Misana for an errand tomorrow. The next morning, Eleonora shows Yuna around the castle where she meets the Princess Flora. Meanwhile, Noah takes Fina and Misana to pick up some membership cards for the fan club she is creating. That night, a mysterious figure heads towards the royal capital. The next day, Yuna, Noah, and Fina find out that people have been attacked in the northern forest, where Noah realizes that her father will arrive in that area. Yuna volunteers to pick him up. Later, the mysterious figure who is named Gulzam confronts the king while he is talking to Eleonora. After Gulzam reveals that he has gathered an army of monsters, the king summons Sanya, the master of the Adventurers Guild. Using her magic, Sanya reports that Yuna has defeated Gulzam and his army. Once Yuna and Cliff reunite, Yuna is summoned by the king. Afterwards, Yuna meets up with Fina and Noah again. At the king's birthday celebration, Yuna's pudding is provided to the guests. The next day, Yuna and Fina decide to head to the bakery before they go home. When they arrive there, however, the owners, Morin and Karen, reveal that they are losing it because they borrowed money from a shady place. Later that night, Yuna decides to hire them for a shop she is opening in Cremonia. In Cremonia, Yuna hires Telmina as the manager. Furthermore, when Morin and Karen arrive in town, Yuna reveals that she turning a noble's mansion into a shop. After employing the orphanage as the staff, Yuna names the shop the Bear Haven, which becomes a huge success. Once the shop closes for the night, Cliff and Noah show up and he reveals that he apprehended the individuals who gave the illegally exorbitant loan for the bakery. When Yuna hands the document to Morin and Karen, they decide to stay in town. This decision puts Yuna in a happy mood. Yuna is heading towards the port town of Milela to eat some seafood when she encounters a couple who had collapsed in the mountains. After she rescues them, Damon and Yura reveal that they were heading to Cremonia to buy food because the town had been terrorized by a kraken and a band of thieves for a month. Once they arrive in Milela, Yuna decides to help. She then heads to the Adventurers Guild, where she meets the guildmaster Atla. While Yuna donates food, Atla reveals that the guild has been busy dealing with all the problems. The next day, the town has plenty of food again thanks to Yuna. Yuna and Atla later had a conversation about the kraken. That night, Yuna deals with two intruders who are a part of the band of thieves. She then heads to the thieves' hideout to take out the remaining members. A tired Yuna brings the thieves to Atla, where she questions the leader. Meanwhile, when Zarad, the guildmaster of the Merchant Guild, learns that the thieves have been captured, he attempts to skip town with stolen valuables until he is apprehended. Afterwards, Yuna heads to the restaurant and she cries tears of joy when she eats a Japanese meal. She then decides to take on the kraken when she discovers that the restaurant will get more ingredients from the country of Wa. Yuna struggles to come up with a viable strategy to fight the kraken. Yura later invites Yuna to her house and thanks for saving her and Damon. While she is eating, Yuna figures out how to deal with the kraken. With Atla's help, Yuna corners the kraken. She then uses her fire magic to finally defeat it. After this happens, Atla carries an exhausted Yuna. When Atla appears to ask Yuna to take on a request, she is enjoying the feast Ans has prepared for her. Yuna later returns to Cremonia and tells Fina that she needs to do something. Yuna brings Cliff a letter from Milela, in which she requests to be taken under Cremonia's wing. Yuna reveals she dug a tunnel after Cliff expresses concern. Yuna, Cliff, and Milane arrive in Milela the next day. Afterwards, Yuna takes Fina and Shuri to see the ocean. However, Fina notices that she and Yuna are slowly drifting apart thanks to Yuna's job and popularity. As such, Fina asks Yuna if she can take a break from harvesting. The following morning, Yuna hangs out with Noah while Fina is training with Gens. Thanks to Noah and Gens, Yuna and Fina realize how much they miss each other. When they meet up, Yuna and Fina vow to be together. There the anime ends.